What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today in this video I'm going to be discussing this week's Arnold Palmer Invitational. This is the tournament that is upcoming on the PGA Tour, and it is a signature event. It's the first one I believe we've had since the Genesis Invitational, which I believe means there is no cut, or if there is a cut, it's top 50 and ties or within 10 strokes of the lead. Not totally sure for that, but with a small field event, I'll have to double check that. But with that, let's break down the field. We're going to look at people's prices, kind of talk about the plays, and what this DraftKings slate has to offer. So with that, we'll start with the 10K and above range. We got 3 golfers. First up, we got Scotty Scheffler at 11.3, Rory McIlroy at 10.6, and Patrick Cantlay at 10K flat. Of these 3, Scheffler and Rory are former winners here. Or I'm not sure if Rory is, but Rory has played well here, and he lives down here in Florida. Knows the area super well. I think for the casuals, Scheffler and McIlroy are going to be probably higher owned. Honestly, I kind of think Cantlay may go under owned here. Maybe that's just me. But this course is got to play from the fairway. It's pretty much a course that challenges you off the tee with, thick rough. It's probably your closest major setup that you'll get without being a major, and it's the toughest test that they've had all year. And so, these are the elite guys in the field, all of these guys are the top players, and so I think out of this group, Cantlay would be kind of my number 1 tournament option, and then I would probably go Scheffler, then Rory. Any of these guys are fine. I don't necessarily think I'm starting up this high, but I think my favorite play out of this range would probably be Cantlay. For the 9K range, we got Victor Hovland at 9.9, Xander Schauffele at 9.8, Albert at 95, Jordan Spieth 9,400, Sam Burns 93, Max Homa 92, Colin Morikawa 91, and Justin Thomas 9K. Out of this range, Hovland is someone I'm looking at 9,900. Pretty good tee to green. All of these players are good tee to green. But he just kind of has that gamesmanship feel where, not that everyone else isn't putting in their full effort, but puts extra emphasis on these stronger field events. And so he's someone that I'm looking at this week. I think many people are going to hop on Albert because of his driving prowess and accuracy. And so I'm pretty sure this is his first time playing the course, which, we've seen first timers do, okay, but this is the course that you kind of want to know, or experience here matters. And I think at that point, I would rather just pivot to Jordan, who is $100 cheaper. And he has played decently well here in his starts. I believe he's had 2 top 5 finishes for Spieth. And he's kind of that player that just gets it done in all, aspects of the game. Sometimes the driver's off, sometimes the approach is off, putter's off, but the other parts of the game pick up, the struggling ones. So if off the tee is struggling, his approach game, putting's pretty good. If his approach game is not great. Around the green putting, that matters. So Spieth is someone I like for tournaments this week. Burns, he's too erratic for me for this specific course. Homa, I think, goes under-owned here. He's a tournament play I'm looking at. I think he just goes under-owned compared to the rest of the field. He hasn't necessarily been playing great. T16, T13, T14, T13. He won over on the DP World Tour. So, he hasn't played awful. He just, it hasn't been a top finish. So, he's someone that is interesting this week and has played well on comparable courses such as Quail Hollow. He's won there. So, he is someone that interests me this week. Morikawa at 9,100. He is interesting, and JT, I think, picks up a little steam this week since he's been playing well. Obviously, cut from the Genesis, but T12 at Waste Management, T6, T3, and his game seems to have found itself again. So, out of this group, for me personally, number 1, Victor Hovland, number 2, Jordan Spieth, and Max Homa, number 3. I think ownership in this range will fall on Oberg mainly. I'm sure Hovland picks up a decent amount. I'm sure Schauffele picks up a decent amount. I'm not sure about Spieth's ownership. I think Spieth will probably be more highly owned than I'm expecting just because it's Jordan Spieth. But I think Burns is going to be low owned. I think Homa is going to be low owned. And I think Morikawa is going to be low owned in this spot. So with that, we'll move on to the 8K range. We got Will Zalatoris at 8,900. Following him, Tommy Fleetwood at 8,800. Cam Young, 8,700. Matthew Fitzpatrick, 8,600. Wyndham Clark, 85. Hideki Matsuyama, 8,400. Tom Kim, 8,300. Jason Day, 8,200. Sahith Theegala, 8,100. And Sungjae Im, 8K flat, as well as Russell Henley at 8K flat. This range is super interesting for me. I think many people are going to flock to Cam Young at 8,700. He's been playing incredibly well. Obviously, last week came T4 at the Cognizant. He's good. He's been pretty good tee to green, obviously around the green, and putting isn't. His putting has improved. Around the green is still area for improvement, but he has been playing massively well lately. I think he picks up a bunch of steam. I think Hideki picks up a bunch of steam at 8,400. I'm not sure why he's this cheap. He won the Genesis. That was his last start. T22 before that, T13. Not sure why he's this cheap. But those are the two that I think pick up massive ownership in this range. A couple that I'm looking at. Jason Day. He, coming off a solo 9th at the Genesis, T6 at the Pebble Beach, T10 at the Century, T34 at American Express. He's been playing really well. And we haven't seen this from him in a while. And I think, people are just kind of off of him because of his inconsistencies. And his play has been increasingly getting better. And so if he was probably 7,500, I think people hop on him this week. But he is 8,200. And with Hideki, $200 more, I think people are just going to pay that price for him, or they're going to just, try and find a cheaper option. He is someone I'm pretty sure that has won here before in the past, or has some good results here. Um, Off the tee is strong approach. Obviously that's been one of his areas of emphasis in improving is his approach game. Is that and off the tee have plagued him over the last few years. He's greater on the greens, uh, a good putter, and I think just his game is fully in sync or getting back to, that form where he had just, was going nuclear, back in 2016, 2017, where he just played amazing golf. So he's someone I'm personally looking at this week as a tournament play. Segala is someone I'm looking at. He played well last year here. He T5 at Waste Management, T37 his previous event, solo second at the Century. So he is someone that interests me a bit in tournaments as well. But otherwise, I don't really have any interest in Zalatoris. Fleetwood, he is someone that I'm curious about. He's just, solid tee to green, always going to have his name in the mix a bit. So he is someone I am also interested in. So my number 1 would be Jason Day, number 2, Segala, number 3, Fleetwood. Everyone else just kind of doesn't interest me, or skill set kind of doesn't match up for me personally here. With that, we'll move into the 7K range. We'll talk about 7,500 and above first. We got JT Poston at 7,900, Matthew Pavon at 7,900, Chris Kirk and Corey Connors at 7,800, Brian Harmon, Siwoo Kim? Yeah, Siwoo Kim at 7,700, Jake Knapp and Ben On at 7,600, and then rounding out at 7,500 is Shane Lowry and Adam Scott. This one is interesting for sure. A ton of ball strikers in this group. Poston, Pavon, Kirk, Connors, Harmon, Knapp, On, Lowry, Scott. Some of them are longer off the tee with Adam Scott, Ben On, Jake Knapp, and a couple of these are good, really good approach players. I think this is a range where we could get some leverage on the field. Corey Connors is someone I'm looking at this week. He's played solid throughout the year, no great results. It's frustrating because he's not great around the greens or on the greens, but he is solid off the tee, accurate, and his approach game is his bread and butter. If he can make some putts this week, I think he can put himself in position, just based off of his ball striking. But his other facets of the game are not great. So he needs to have a high green and regulation number this week for me. Otherwise, nothing in this range really kind of stands out to me like I must play them or I'm looking forward to play them. Connors is someone that I think doesn't garner much ownership here. Maybe that's just, me, I'm not sure. But that's just kind of what I'm seeing right now. With that, we'll move to the 7,400 and below range. Eric Cole, Keegan Bradley, both 7,400. Last year's winner, Kitayama and Harris English, 7,300. Nikolai Højgaard, Steven Yeager, 7,200. Tom Hoagie, Ricky Fowler, 7,100. And Luke List, Christian Bezuidenhout at 7K flat. This is another interesting range. This has some bombers with Eric Cole, Kitayama, Højgaard, Jaeger, Luke List. But then we have some ball strikers like Keegan Bradley, Tom Hoge, Fowler, Bezuidenhout. Harris English, can get hot. Tom Hoge is someone that's standing out to me just in this range. 2 top 10s in his last 4 finishes. Approach and driving accuracy has been there. His around the green game is not great. So that is a deficiency for him. But I think ball striking wise, that can lead to success here. So he is someone that is on my radar that I think is going to go low owned for tournaments. Harris English, solo 7th at the Genesis, T17 the week before that, T10 at the Sony. The people that are going to keep it in the fairway here, I think, are moving up more and more on my board, as I'm more concerned about the potential rough that we're going to see that we haven't seen this entire year yet. So I guess I'm probably placing more emphasis on driving accuracy this week than most. But otherwise in that range, I don't really see much. With that, move on to 6,900 and below to about 6,500. Last week's winner, Austin Eckroat, 6,900, as well as Emiliano Grillo. Adam Hadwin, Justin Rose at 6,800. Danny McCarthy, Cam Davis, 6,700. Eric Van Rooyen, Minwoo Lee, 6,500. And Patrick Rogers, Nick Taylor, 6,500. Out of this group, honestly, I'm kind of shocked with how cheap Hadwin and Rose are. I'm sure they will gain some steam this week, as well as Emiliano Grillo. They're ball strikers, pretty accurate off the tee. Danny McCarthy, he missed a cut this past week. Otherwise, he's been pretty solid. His approach game has not been great recently. He had improved last year, but has really struggled to find consistency with his game this year so far, even though he's had some good finishes. The tournaments, it's been, he's struggled with the driver, and then he's struggled on the greens, or he's struggled finding the fairway, and his approach game has been, off, so he's had some struggles, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing things turn around for him. But at 6,700, I don't hate him this week as maybe a salary filler. Minwoo Lee is going to be extremely owned. He's been at the talk with Twitter this entire week, considering of how well he played last week at the Cognizant, and now being only 6,600 in this event. I think there's massive what's the word I want to use? Massive advantage to fading him here or being on him. Fading him and clicking some other name in the near range, and he could outperform him. Otherwise, the other problem is if 50% of the field's going to own him and then he goes off, then it's like, well, now you need to have him. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that plays out the rest of the week. But from this range, it would be Grillo, Hadwin, and Rose for me. For the last range, 6,400 and below, we got Adam Svensson and Sepp Straka and Brendan Todd at 6,400. Andrew Putnam, Lucas Glover, Taylor Moore, 6,300. Adam Shanks, Sammy Valimaki, Justin Lauer, 6,200. Nick Dunlap, Mac Hughes, Lee Hodges, Seamus Power at 6,100. CT Pan, Webb Simpson, Grayson Murray, and David Ford, whoever you are, at 6K. Out of this group, there really isn't anyone that I necessarily see. You could go to Brendan Todd and Putnam just for like accuracy guys. Lauer's an accuracy guy as well. Taylor Moore has been solid. He hasn't played since the Genesis, which was a few weeks ago. Yeah, I don't really see a reason to go down this far, but I don't. There are a couple plays I don't hate down here. Lucas Glover. Obviously, the putting had improved and then it, went away. But long term, he's a find the fairway, above average approach player, and approach is one of the key parts of the game. And so I think he could find himself enough greens to, make some putts as well. But other than that, down here, I don't think is a necessary option. This is the API is expected to be a fun event. As always, provided the top names at the top of the leaderboard, and I'm excited to see how this turns out at the end on Sunday afternoon. With that being said, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. I will be posting a couple articles breaking down some more players and a course preview that'll be up on my Patreon today at some time. With that, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.